Mayans MC, Season 4, Episode 8, spoiler review. All right. So, as you guys know, like I said in my when I started the season, that, you'll sometimes get these reviews early, sometimes a little bit later. Well, now you're getting them a little bit more later because at this point, my sleep seems to be more important than watching this episode right away. But I did watch the episode. And I think at this point where we've gone from the beginning to the end, I know everybody's sick of me bashing this series or at least critiquing it really harshly. But, I tell the truth most of the time. This episode had so much going on with it. A lot. There's so many storylines. It's crazy just like how much we were bouncing around from every storyline. There was even like a Godfather type thing that they did with Marcus Alvarez and this whole war front. We'll get to that in a minute. I watched the episode before work, and then I went to work, and then I just got off, and I'm just kind of like dancing the ideas in my mind, whether I liked it or whether I didn't like it. There were some aspects I did like about this episode. Don't get me wrong. There is the aspect of, there was a lot of like, I forgot you were in here. That was when Nestor came in. That was when Adelita came in. That was when Taza came in. Like you go, or Hank comes in. I'm like, I forgot you guys were in the series because they don't really do anything. It's already almost over. Somebody, I think, said that the preview said one episode left, but I believe there's 2 episodes left. And then you get the season finale, on that second episode. So there's one next week, and then there's one more after that, and then that's it. Then we'll see if it gets renewed or not. I don't know. This episode had way too much going on. It's that that's the problem. That's the problem, is when you have way too many storylines going on. So let me talk about the good though. Okay, the good was we did get some of the war conflict going on in this episode. We get confirmation on some things. There was a shocking death here and there. I'll explain why I liked a lot of these things as we continue to go on with this review. But there's a lot of good elements in here. There is half and half. I never really knock the Mayans MC for bad acting. There is some characters that I think are really bad at when they deliver or something like that, and I'll say it. But for the most part, the main cast is really, really good. I think in this episode there was some good acting by JD Pardo. I think there was some good acting by Angel. Oh, definitely almost did fantastic. He's always, he's the vet out of all this cast, and to have Easy, and I did this in my video. I said, he's gonna, it looked like he's telling his dad, his pops, Felipe, that he killed Gabby, and that's exactly what he did. You got the flashbacks in the beginning, which is whatever, you see that in so much media. I think it's more powerful to show, not tell. To more of him maybe just kind of waking up in a big pile of sweat. Like you get the idea that he is like thinking of Gabby, and he is thinking of Gabby. Easy in this episode seems to have found himself, which I never loved Easy. I thought a better protagonist could have happened in the beginning of everything that has happened in the Mayans. I never loved him, but I liked a lot of aspects of him. I like the idea of this protagonist, of this person that we're following. The problem is he's now turned to the dark side. It's kind of a crazy switch, honestly, because we do get crumbles of like him going down this path, but now we're really seeing it. Is that a bad thing? It depends on if you liked him. It depends if you could root for him. If not, then yeah, it's a bad thing. For me, it's not necessarily a bad thing because I haven't really been too invested in him. To me, he is probably the smartest member of the Mayans MC, but his plans go to shit. And he says this in this episode. There's a lot of, he has potential, but he just never reaches his potential. He has sparks, but he never like fully lights the fire, he's had to do a lot of things because Bishop hasn't stepped up. That's why Bishop was stepped down, got stepped down, and Easy rose up, and Marcus sees maybe there is potential there. There's the future there. So with this episode, he's really embracing that. He's really embracing now this kind of culture. Like, a lot of people will point out he's not necessarily Jax at this point. He's more like Clay. And I would say I kind of agree. I said too, that the power, the responsibility, it is getting to him. And you could say that too. He's understanding that it's a dog eat dog world. One thing I loved about this episode was they did go back to the portrait thing where he's not the dog, he's the ocean, and he's like swallowing everybody up. That I like that callback to that, as we did see that picture, I believe, last season. I thought him telling his dad that he killed Gabby, I thought that was that is one of the conversations that's, because so much weight is in that. Felipe thinks he's coming and they're going to reconcile, but if anything, he's lost a son permanently. He can't look at Easy the same way again, because he even said, like, if your mama was here, she would just absolutely hate you. And Easy's like, oh, I'm glad, well, she ain't here. I knew he was going to throw that line back. I just thought he would do it a little bit more quicker than that. But I did like the interaction between him and Felipe. I liked the interaction with Easy and Angel. There was a lot of good interactions in this episode. There is a good interaction with Adelita and Angel. Angel, what he did and the things that went on, and it's kind of, I was hoping for a little bit more of him thinking of the child he lost, even though he's gained a child. And Nails, but that's it. It seems like it's a wrap, and that's the one aspect I hate about this writing, and then him as a character. But then the other aspect is he read the baby books. He's loving this child right now. So that's a side of Angel that I really like. So Angel is such a mixed bag. Either he is that like kind of crazy uncle that you have, right? And you just don't know what you're going to get out of him. But his heart is in the right place. It's just, he's all messed up. Same with Adelita. Adelita says she's a monster, and how could she raise his child? So there was actually really good moments and really good scenes with Angel and Adelita. The problem with this episode, here's the thing though. Okay, as we continue moving forward, there's a lot of the things like with Gilly and his brother of arms wife, and he brings her over, she's staying because CM Punk is like going crazy and stuff. There's those storylines. There's the Creeper and his girlfriend. There's those storylines. There's the Obispo, Bishop, and Taza. These things should not be in episode 8. A lot of the conversations, like with Creeper and his girlfriend, with Bishop and Taza, what I just said, a lot of these conversations, especially with Adelita, El Vaquero, like there's one scene when El Vaquero, his mom dies, right? And then he jumps into the pool and he's crying. And that scene should have been early on in the season. A lot of these scenes, like what I just said, should have been early on in the season. It should not be on an episode 8 where there's only 2 more episodes. This is placed way too far. These are moments that should have been earlier on. It's too late. It's like too little too late, right? As much as they wanted to try to eat the whole damn cake. They wanted to present you with this cake and says, eat the whole thing. But you can't. You can only eat so much, like eat little at a time, day by day. For them, they really tried to spread this thing out, and it's just not working. It's not working. And that's the problem I had with this episode, was a lot of the storylines that you could have, if you're going to introduce them, a lot of the things that you presented and wrote for this episode should have been like in the middle of the season or in the beginning of the season. It's just too late now, right? This war that shootout with everybody should have been probably in the middle of the season. Skip the hospital scene. What did the hospital scene really do? Just Gabby's death, really? Or Terry being ICU? Like, a lot of things should have been in the middle. And I got a little rant on the hospital scene. But let's continue with the good, right? So the good was, yes, the angel moment, the baby moments. It was really, really great. I loved how he said, told her, about the formula and all that stuff. Felipe in the Easy scene. The you know what I really liked? I liked the meetup and like, you know, Alvarez doing this little Godfather moment, says we're gonna take out the Suns, and while you got this country song playing in the background, and he's watching his daughter ride a horse while everything is going on and deaths are happening, shootouts are happening, people are being killed. I like that. It could have been executed so much better. Got to been more imaginative. We finally get a scene with everybody riding a bike for a good like minute. It's like, oh yeah, we should have them all riding, you know, to kill these guys. Dude, I want everybody's been saying, why aren't they riding their bikes? And this is the only time we get this long scene, which I'll take it. Fine, I'll take it. But the Marcus Godfather 2 kind of reference or kind of scene they did, it could have just been done a little bit better. I just feel like maybe a more imaginative, because it just felt very plain to me. Even though there was a lot of finally some action in this episode, it's still I think the deaths weren't bad. I just think the overall concept of like him, you know, seeing his daughter and with the horse and the music and the song choice and stuff, like, okay, yeah, it's good for what you're trying to do, but I feel like it could have been better. Just like this series, it could have been better. So the big thing too is, you know, Easy has become so much more. This is definitely an episode with Easy and with who else? El Paquero. Who else? There's an Angel, Natalita. It's basically finding out who you are, even though you're a monster, right? If you're a monster, you've given birth to this innocence, but if you were innocent in the beginning, now you're a monster. There is a lot of themes like that in this episode. There is also, you know, El Paquero throwing it back at his sister, like, you came out as a monster. So the monster theme is in here. It's the blossom of another monster, or it's a blossom of a monster who created something wholesome and dear and innocent. And Angel says this in this episode, that, you know, you're his mother and we are family, you know. And then Felipe having to realize that his family has been broken for so long, and it's just breaking even more. And this is like kind of like the last straw with Easy finally, you know, the good one, so to speak, being devoured by hatred and anger and not jealousy, but overall power, and realizing that he is a killer. So that's I like the overall theme. I like how they did present that. I got it with a lot of the storytelling they were trying to do. So that's very good. That's very good. It's just the amount of how much is going on in this episode. You have Emily, who continues to get, like, they're PIs, so I don't know how much they got on her, but she leaves the restaurant. She's ready to do her getaway thing. You did have El Paquero and the sister. Now he was going to take over. Their parents are dead. I like the sister a lot. I think the sister is really, really good. I like how her the present she presents herself. She's very, especially at the end of this episode with Miguel. I do like the sister a lot. So we see Miguel too. And you see that El Paquero's sister wants to know information, or what's something's going to happen with where Miguel's probably going to help her. She's behind El Paquero's back. So I like that. El Paquero has been such a disappointment, and that's not the actor's fault, and that's not even the character's fault. It's the writer's fault. It's the writer's fault for not really including this character that is enthusiastic and is also but brutal, and they just never included this character. This character is now nothing. This is, like I said, too little, too late. So let's get into the war, right? The one big thing was, especially now that we know what Easy and what he's presenting himself. I mean, the JJ thing, when is that going to come into play, right? So Easy, after his Easy, Angel, and all of them, all the crew, all the Yuma, Oakland, Diaz is there. I like Diaz, even though he's a freaking crackhead. I like Diaz a lot, or he's a junkie. I like Diaz. So Conche is there, and then Alvarez initiates this war. It's time to take out San Bernardino. And then you also had Jesse and what was it, Jazz? That whole situation. This is how you know it's really bad dialogue. Is if they constantly, you have to cuss to just drop F-bombs. You could do that And it makes sense for the overall kind of like, it's a very entertaining kind of story, or the actor could really pull that off. Like, let's say Scarface, Tony Montana throws those F-bombs like nobody's business, but it's very engaging. Al Pacino does amazing work. He really sells it. You don't even realize he is dropping all those F-bombs. You're really just looking at the scene. You're really looking at the tension between the characters. But when Jazz throws it, it is terrible. Whoever the actress is. So I praise some of the actors. Like, I think Bishop did a great job. This episode, I liked them in here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But then you had Jazz, and you had this actress, and it was terrible. It was a terrible acting on her part. And then just dropping F-bombs after F-bombs every episode. It's getting repetitive. It's getting stupid. Like, it's really not bringing anything to the table. It's not really smart writing. It's absolutely not smart writing. It's absolutely not doing anything to help the scene itself. It's just really boggling it down, because in the back of your mind is like, why do they keep saying this F-bomb? And she's doing a horrible job throwing that F-bomb around. So I thought that scene was terrible. And then her telling Jesse, why didn't you tell us that they were going to hit us? And you better tell me what you know, or I'm going to tell the Mayans. That whole scene's done. It's just really stupid. I don't like it. Get it out of here. We really, we just had, Jesse is a plot device, basically. And the problem is we don't really care enough for her to really say like, hey, I hope she doesn't die, because we don't care. So this war that's happening, they're taking out a lot of members of the San Bernardino, of the Sons. You have the one guy who talked to Terry in the car and said Chips gave it a go. You see, here's my problem with the war. Even though we get something, they absolutely took them off the table. The Sons that we saw in this season and a little bit of the last season, they took them out with ease. They took all of them out. All of them. We just get glimpses of like, oh yeah, he's a family man. Or, oh yeah, Terry's with that Jazz chick. And then, hey, look at how fun this little reference is. Doesn't he look like Jax? Look what we do to him. Boom. Stupid. The Sons that we actually, the only one that's still slightly alive is Terry. And I'm barely getting to know Terry. I'm barely getting to know any of the San Bernardino people. But I don't need to get to know them anymore, because they're all dead. Everybody got wiped out in this episode. What war? What war? Are we going to get Charming? Because I don't think we're going to get Charming. I think Tig's coming to negotiate, to squash it. What war? This is more disappointing than the Civil War. Because that wasn't a war. How is Sons, this crew, going to get wiped out like that after the hospital incident? How are they not knowing that they're in the war? I did like the prospect idea of capturing the prospect and getting, like, doing the Troy thing, right? Getting the Trojan horse and getting into the compound. You get a shootout, which really no casualties. Bishop almost dies. Taza saves him. Of course Taza saves him. All the Sons got obliterated. If there's Sons, I think everybody's a Sons of Anarchy fan over Mayans. The disrespect, right? I felt disrespected. I felt like you're treating me, writers and Elgin, like an idiot. You're telling me the Sons are not going to hit any of these guys by the van? Even the way how Easy's holding the gun and this guy is taking out all your guys? Ridiculous. I think it's more ridiculous than a hospital scene. Absolutely more ridiculous. Because you have people getting murdered. It was kind of cool, though. I did like the shot where, the Sons take out one of the Mayans on the bike. But why does that matter? We don't know who that is. It was nobody important. That's the problem with the war. That's what I said. You need to bring the Charming into this. You need to bring Tig. You need to bring Happy. You need to bring Chips. I don't care what you pay Tommy. Bring him in, because there is no investment with any of the San Bernardino Sons. And if you're saying there was, and you're saying you felt something, stop it. Stop it. I didn't feel shit. I just felt like, wow, this is just ending very quickly. This is not really a war. This was just back and forth retaliation. But Mayans really smoked them, man. The Mayans smoked the Suns. The Mayans seem to be 10 times smarter than the Suns, which I don't know how, because I felt like it'd be so much easier to take out Santo Padre or any of these guys than going into the Suns compound and taking all of them out. Ridiculous. It's stupid. It's the dumbest thing, I swear. And then with the Bishop, I did like Bishop in this episode, especially when Creeper brings his girlfriend. And Bishop's like being a kind of a cool guy, you know? I think Bishop, I love Bishop as a character. I think he should die, but at this point, it was really weird because he was such in a downhill spiral. And then after Taza saves him, and then after that, they have that drink, and he's kind of like cool with Taza now. And Taza says, no, we're not cool. We're just even, you know? That's the problem too, is that Taza's in this, right? He's shooting everybody up. Creeper, Gilly's ready to take, Sun's heads off. But do we really care? Too little, too late. Too little, too late. Where's Taza been? Hank takes, I think Hank's the one that took out Wannabe Jax. Who cares? I didn't know that guy, you know? And then Hank, he's here, there, somewhere. There's no investment in this, man. It's frustrating. Like this, everybody's been looking for the war. What war? There was no war. Suns got cleaned out. And they knew that the Mayans were coming, but nope, still got cleaned out. What's next? Who's next? You think Tig is really going to come and say, brother, we're going to war. Now I'm bringing all my boys. I don't think so. Just because Marcus and Tig and Jax and Marcus, I don't think so. We'll see. You got 2 more episodes. Is Terry going to get out of the ICU and just want to, murder all these Mayans? Who's he got? They killed everybody. They killed one of the charters. What are we doing? Where's this going? What's happening? Conche is not at fault. Conche, I believe, is absolutely right. But I think Easy was right to do what he did. So the scene, of course, when Conche comes in and Easy, shoots one of the Suns members. Conche's like, oh, are you good? Easy says, I caught you slipping, which is a very stupid-ass line for that whole situation. He didn't catch Conche slipping at all. He could have said, we're good now, and then shoot Conche. He shot Conche for this, all right? Either Conche was going to eventually kill Easy, or Easy is going to end him right now. So what Easy did, once again, like he did with Gabby. Gabby put out, I'm going to tell the police about Angel. Easy made the right call on that one. How it was all set up by the writers was retarded, was stupid. Forgive me for using the R word. What Easy did to Conche was absolutely right. Because eventually Conche, you think a man is going to let Easy, who almost killed his son, who's been the one making these plans. Conche even said, let me roll with them so they don't mess this up. And guess what? He rolled with them and the plan went to everything was good. The plan actually succeeded. Conche's out of the picture now. You think Conche's going to... And he told him, you're a dead man walking. So with Easy taking out Conche, I don't have a problem with that. With Conche hating Easy and eventually always holding that grudge, don't have a problem with that. Conche had every right to. Do I think Conche's a better leader than Easy at this point? I kind of do. A lot of the things Conche was doing, it really, what Manny was speaking to Easy towards this end of this episode was kind of true. Conche was a good guy. Conche wanted the best for the club. He was trying to do everything in his power. Do you agree with him? No, sometimes you didn't agree with him. But was he a good leader? I think he was. I think he was a better leader than Easy. I think his plans were going where everything was going good until Easy stepped in, right? Well, he did almost die though. So Manny and Easy. A lot of people are thinking that Manny's going to be the next one to go. I don't think so. I think Manny knows, of course, that Easy probably killed Conche. But you got to remember, Manny did say it's time for the young bloods to come up. And in order to do that, you got to take out the old people or the old timers who think this is not necessary. You saw that with Diaz. You saw that with what's his name that's saying, hey, man, like, let these young guys take over. Let them, let them feel what war is. Let them do what we're old. We're done. We did this already. So Easy's coming after. It's time to rise the ladder. I think that's what the power is, man. That's why I said he likes it. He knows where he wants to be. He doesn't want to just be VP. He wants to be more than that. He even told Manny, hey, you should go for VP over there. I think Manny and him are still gonna have a good relationship, and honestly, I think Manny might transfer to Santa Padre and Easy once he kills Marcus. I don't know, man. If Easy kills Marcus, my God, the most hated character of all time, right? So we have all that. Emily, I'm not even going to touch that because she was barely in it. The Adelita thing I touched upon a little bit. But overall, the episode was fine. It was really anticlimactic if this is it for the war aspect of it. But when it comes to the acting, I think there were some good things. I think there was some terrible acting in here sometimes. The whole Gilly thing, do I really need to get into the Gilly stuff? Like, it shouldn't even be at this point in time. It should be earlier on. Honest, and you do see Gilly kind of really think about Coco, so he's going through some shit. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on the episode. I can't tell you if I really hated it or anything like that. I didn't love it. I think I'm just like at this point. It's just you're too far gone. This series is too far gone. Even if we do get another season, I have really no faith in it. I'm just here for the end game. I'm here to see if an Easy dies, an Angel dies, or whatever happens. Yeah, I'm just it was fine. It was fine. I really hope this is not the end of the war. I really hope, but they really took out everybody. I think I'm more invested to know what this conversation with Tig and Marcus Alvarez is going to be, because it's going to be nuts. It's going to be fire, baby. All right. I'm Dan American Dan's son. Please hit the like button. Would really appreciate it. Would get this video going, tracking. Be sure to subscribe. Tell all your friends about this channel. Subscribe to the channel itself. And then, hit the bell icon so you know when all my videos, I'll be dropping more videos tonight. Got some single individual kind of videos I want to cover, like Conche, like Easy and his development, Felipe. So there'll be individual videos. But until next time, guys, until we talk more Mayans MC, I'm out of here. I'm Dan American Dan's son. See ya.